a child who gets very hurt with his words is a child whose love language is words of affirmation. There are some children who feel love when they're touched. There's some children who feel love when I spend time with you.
4-5 years old kid going to the school and having a bad day or a good day. Maybe he's having a fight. Maybe teacher had scolded him for something which he has not done.
Yes.
But why they don't think?
Exactly.
We are adults. If we cannot think about it, how we can teach our kids? Hello and welcome everybody. This is Sadhna and this is my channel, The Attitude of Gratitude. So today we have a special topic which is related to kids. Kids, they irritate us, they do a lot of mischiefs. But what happens if they are not there in our lives? Yes, that's the question. So we have to enrich the power of kids. So let's talk about kids, and we have today a special guest with us. Her name is Charlotte D'Souza. Hi Charlotte, how are you?
Hi, I'm absolutely good and I love your energy. And it just made the room live, I think.
Thank you very much. So she is a co-founder of Blah Blah Blah. So Blah Blah Blah, when I heard for the first time in Dubai, it is a nightclub. So Charlotte, can you please explain me how you got this name to your head about Blah Blah Blah?
I love it that you spoke about the nightclub, because a lot of times when I introduce myself and I go, hi, I'm the founder of blah, blah, blah. And people are like, oh, yeah? And I'm like, not the nightclub. So then I see a different reaction and then I go with what I do. So blah, 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 by the way, stands for Building Life's Attainable Habits. And how I got the name was me with my co-founder, Sarah Lobo. We decided that we wanted something catchy, something fun, something that everybody could relate to. It can't be something boring. It has to be something that people turn and look at us and say that, what does that really mean? What do you really do?
A shocking name.
Absolutely. So a conversation starter. And that's why we were listening to some music and I think Sarah caught onto it. She said that, let's go with this name, blah, blah, blah. And we fleshed it out to Building Life's Attainable Habits.
That's very nice. So can you please tell me, Charlotte, in this program, like the blah, 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 actually it is basically related to kids, right? So what basically you do? Because we have so many institutes, they are dealing with kids, they have so many things to do. But what different you are, from others?
Okay. The different thing that I do from others, and I hope there will be many, many more like me, because I think the world needs it right now, is that there is a gap. We go to schools, we learn so many skills, we build our IQs, we are doing great things in our subjects. But as we grow up, and we realize, we're out of the bubble, we realize, I wish someone taught me to stand up for what is right. I wish someone taught me to embrace my emotions. I wish someone taught me decision making, problem solving, things that you need in the real world. Basically, like you said, all this builds up your EQ, your emotional intelligence, which is not given a lot of attention, unfortunately, in our formative years. So I come in there, I fill the gap. So whatever I teach, whenever I ask every adult, do you wish this was taught in school? Their reaction is, I wish. And I wanted to change that I wish to I can. That's what I went and did, started blah, blah, blah.
So that's very lovely of you that you thought of this kind of concept like for the kids. Absolutely. Actually, it is required.
Yes.
Because now the kids, even for the small, small things in the house, when the siblings are fighting, they are not able to stand, in front of each other. So how they will be, standing in front of the world as well. So this is, I really like. So basically, you tell me from which age to which age you are taking kids in your program.
So we start from the age of 7 and we go up to 17.
Okay.
And we break them down into 3 age groups. So 7 to 10 years, 11 to 13 years, and 14 to 17 years. So that's how we break them down.
I see. Now people are saying बच्चों को सुधरने की बहुत ज़रूरत है. अभी I have a question. What do you think? We should teach our kids or we should teach our parents in this way?
तो people are saying बच्चों को सुधरने की ज़रूरत है. मेरा सवाल ये रहा कि सुधारने वाले सुधर चुके, और अगर नहीं तो सुधारने वालों को सुधरने की ज़रूरत है. Just to reiterate what I wanted to say is, I feel that children are just absorbing or imbibing what parents do. Children don't do what parents tell them to do.
Right.
They do what they watch their parents do.
Right.
So basically, before we expect बच्चों को सुधारने की और children to be corrected and rectified, I think parents need to walk that talk. I think parents need to first show them how it's done. And that's what children will follow. I'll give you a simple example with failures, okay?
Right.
So many times we as adults can't take failures, right? I mean, we treat them so badly. But we want to tell our children, hello, listen, you better learn from that mistake. You get up and you walk again. When have I really shown my child how to fail? When have I shown my child that it's okay to fail? Let me get up and learn and walk again. And that's where I think, yeah, the people who say this should walk the talk first.
Exactly. Because see, the kids are kids. They are in this world as a new plant. And if we are not nurturing it in a well way, I don't think so. They will be, grown as a big, huge, a good tree where, we can find fruits and flowers like that. So this is the very good platform you have, where you have started, helping them in this way, where they can spend little time with you. Because every time, obviously, if we are not so close to our kids, there is somebody we require.
Yes.
And I have a question with this world, at least with me as well. Why we have to send our kids, the small kids, to somebody else? But if we can treat them well. But yes, instead of teaching your kids, they are kids. They will be like this always. If they are very sensible, very kind, they are not kids. So little monsters, they are. So let them be little monsters. Give them a proper guidance where they can see the world in a good way. So now I have a question, like in this program of yours, like how you teach a child to get a self-awareness, like how they can be self-aware, like what is right and what is wrong, what they should do, what they should not do in this way.
Okay. Not only with self-awareness. Now, self-awareness is a life skill. Pick any other life skill. The way we teach the children is not like we are saying stuff and they're learning. We bring it out of them. Okay? Let me give you an example of self-awareness only. Okay? Now, if I have to sit on self-awareness with you, I will first start with, I'll ask you to name some qualities that you are very proud of about yourself. Maybe physical qualities, maybe emotional qualities, inner qualities. If I suddenly tell you to rattle them off, you may not suddenly get, because you're not trained to. And half the time you've been taught that if I start speaking just about myself, I'll sound as if I'm bragging or boasting, right? So it starts from there. I will start making you delve within yourself and bring that out and put that out. And when you put that out and you say that I'm proud of this, this, and this, that's when you realize all these qualities were within me. And talking about them is not bragging. So every life skill, whether be it winning and losing, be it self-awareness, be it embracing your emotions, we make them practice it through various tools, because every child is also a different learner.
Right.
Like you might understand if I talk to you. There's some other child, I might have to show them a particular way. Some other child would need kinesthetics, like more body movement. Some children will learn in groups. Some children will learn solo. So we divide them as per how they learn best. And we put the point in front of them, we make them come out with answers, and then we give them that aha moment. Oh, this was really important. That's how we teach.
Means you are trying to find out the qualities in the kids.
Yes.
And you want them to say that.
Yes.
First of all, I have one more question for you, and which is, have you seen parents who are actually always telling their kids, you are used for nothing? You are not doing anything. You are like this. You are this. You are not doing this. Means I don't understand. The rainbow around the kids is no.
Yes.
So if a child is in this rainbow, how they will grow in their lives, and how they are coming up in front of you with these kind of positive or maybe the qualities of them. Can you explain this?
No, that is so true. What you just said is so true. It's like, we just did an exercise 2 days ago, and it was lovely. It was about nurturing relationships. Okay, and you exactly said this. And here I'll also tell you what we did in class. So basically what happened was, we said that you are a plant and I am the owner of the house and I'm going to come and say stuff. So they were a plant sitting there. They were behaving like a plant, all of that. And I started saying all good sentences. Wow, what a lovely day. You're sitting there. I'm amazed. I'm watering you. You're showing up. You're fantastic. You're growing. And same thing I said to them that now we are in another house. And today I'm coming to you and I'm like, you're such an irritating thing. You're sitting there doing nothing and I have to just pour the water on you and you have to grow. And what a task for me and you have nothing to do. Literally the way I just did. And when I told them that, that's when a lot of young children came up saying, and they were only in the age group of 7 to 10, that this is exactly how relationships are, ma'am. If somebody tells us positive words of encouragement, we grow. Exactly what you just said. That rainbow is then got the 7 colors. But if somebody keeps saying you're bad, you're good for nothing, even a plant won't grow. How will a human grow?
There is a state in India, I don't remember. My father used to tell me, if in this state they have to finish a plant,
Yes.
they go in front of the plant and they start abusing that plant.
It also happens in Africa.
Yeah, abusing that plant, and then when it, see, I am
Yes.
my goosebumps are raising
Yes.
up because the kids, how can I explain you? I cannot explain you. When I hear the word kids, it gives me my body starts shaking like, oh wow, means it is like that. And when this plant, they have to they don't cut the plant. If they have to finish the plant, they go and start abusing in front of the plant. I have a question for you guys. If you have grown a child and if you want to kill that child in this way, so why you delivered that child? That is my question. Means if we don't want anything, we will not produce that
Yeah.
thing, whether it's a kid or it's a food or it's anything.
Yeah.
So when we have produced something out of so many hassles, okay, everybody is having struggles in their life, but how and why for? They are small little babies and they are growing. They come in this age maybe after 20 years of age. But till then, if you'll feel like it's really sad. It's really sad for me to hear and see those parents who are actually abusing their kids by saying all this bullshit.
It is. And another way of looking at it is also that, see, I'm an eternal optimist and I live with the thing that if I can bring a change, I will. I
Yeah,
live
exactly.
with that. So when I see such things happening, and fortunately, a lot of parents come to me and say that my child is rebellious, my child is not doing anything, is lazy, etc. So you know what? This is our opportunity to correct and rectify that, because I believe that nothing is lost till it's truly lost. Think about it. So if you come across a parent like that who you see is doing these things, it's time to correct that parenting. Sometimes parents also don't realize, and I'm telling you this out of seeing so many parents. Parents have a very tough day at work. Okay. What they don't realize is most of the times when parents are correcting or shouting at the children, they aren't really shouting at them for what the child has done. They're removing their frustration on this child. They're removing the fact that they've had a bad day on this child, which is completely incorrect. But it's time to correct it, right? And if you come across parents whom you can rectify and correct, why not? That's why when we work with children, we also work with parents. We go across parenting. We go on the concept of love languages, which, like you just said, a child who gets very hurt with his words is a child whose love language is words of affirmation. There are some children who feel love when they're touched. There are some children who feel love when I spend time with you. There are some children who feel loved and encouraged with just words. They don't want to be touched. My daughter is like that. She's not so much of a physical touch person, but she's a great person with words. And for them, words really matter. And it's high time we bring this to this attention of parents. Yeah, true. One way of looking at it is that, why are you doing this? You're just spoiling this child, why are you doing this to children? But another way of looking at it is, if I want this change happening, let me go and at least rectify and make that effort to show the light of day to this parent so that the parent can change that relationship with the child.
You just have said that the parents have the bad day in the office, or
Yeah,
maybe they are
yeah,
tired.
yeah.
But why they don't think about the kids?
Exactly.
They have the school
Exactly.
at the age of 5. It starts from 4.5 years in Dubai.
Exactly.
They start going to the school and the bus comes 5:30, 5:45 in the morning. They have the whole day there.
Exactly.
Like till 12 o'clock. For a small little child, you are sending them to the school, like 4-5 years old kid going to the school and having a bad day or a good day. Maybe he's having a fight. Maybe
Yes.
teacher had scolded him for something which he has not done.
Yes.
But why they don't think?
Exactly.
Means being we are adults. If we cannot think about it, how we can teach our kids?
Exactly. And this is exactly, like you just said, this is exactly the conversation I have with parents. Like, you are thinking about you having a bad day, but what about the child?
Child, yeah.
So when you show them the mirror, that's called the reality of life, right? A reality check. We have to give such reality checks to parents so that they rectify themselves. They don't want their children getting hurt, but they're not realizing that they're the ones hurting their children. Exactly.
Most of the children are hurt because of their parents only,
Yeah.
not because of what everybody else is doing. Mostly they are hurt because of the words what they say in the house when they are frustrated
Yes.
to anything.
Yes.
They are taking out on kid.
Yes.
So that's the first thing. Now there's a topic like now we have Gen Zs in this kind of industry, like in this Bollywood or Hollywood, or you can say the world industry.
Yes,
We have
yes.
Gen Zs now. So if you can notice that the pattern, the kids who are in Dubai, the kids are in America, or the kids are in India, they are the three different form of kids, right? So if you'll calculate, you have to do the bit calculation behind it. When a child is small, the parent need their space. They are giving initially them the phone. It starts from there.
Correct.
Now, when the child is more interested into phone, why? Because he is getting everything there: the emotions, the friends, the concept, the play, the language, the studies. So why they'll get connected with father and mother?
Exactly.
Why they'll not become Gen Zs, and why they will not become lazy?
Exactly. And this is why, like you said, the reality check for parents is required. The pointing the fingers, you know, the concept of one finger pointing at others, three fingers pointing
three
at
pointing
you.
at-
All of these have to be brought to light. So it's not about educating children only, like we said in the beginning. It's about जो सुधारने के लिए कह रहे हैं, those people, the people who are the caretakers, the parents, the guardians, they have to first watch what they're doing.
So I have a very good suggestion for you, Miss Charlotte. I would love if you will arrange a session for our parents.
Yes.
And they can join you. I would love to join there. I would request you all to join a session where she is teaching you all or teaching us how to treat our kids first.
No,
So
absolutely.
after this, I have so many questions for you, by the way. But yes, let's talk
No,
about.
absolutely. Like you said, we do conduct parent-child relationship workshops. We do them already. And it's so important because they are both on almost different planets. You need to get them together on the same
Together.
path.
Yeah, maybe you can, arrange with kids. But that session will be better with
Only parents. Got it.
Because
got it.
when you will teach something to them, might be kid will take it to the some other tangent,
Got it,
which is
got
not
it.
right. So now let's go to the other point. As you were saying, okay, let's talk about kids. So can you please define me basic of kids? What do you think a kid should be? How a kid should be? What is the definition of a kid?
Okay, you know what? The way I work a little differently there, because I don't put them in one box. This is not what a kid is, or this is not what an individual is. And the way we look at kids, we look at them as individuals. There are a lot of times, even in our workshops, we don't call them children, we call them champs. We call adults also champs. Everybody's gotten them. What I would basically say is that every person and every individual has something unique about them. Okay? There is no other sadhana. There is no other Charlotte. There's no other another person. Okay? That is one thing that a person needs to realize. So a child, as per definition, could be the age of starting from infancy to the age of 17, as per the bookish definition. But for me, every individual starting from 0 to 99 to, I don't know, in some Japanese countries, you go up to 120, etc. Every individual has something unique in them which has to be celebrated.
That's
I think
very
what I feel.
lovely reply I got from you. And I'm really happy that at least somebody has come up what I was thinking actually. Because like the 5 fingers are not equal. Like that everybody cannot be same. So in this program, like from what is the first point that you start teaching kids?
The first point is the other rules. And I'll tell you the rules because that's something that bring kids on a fantastic platform. So rule number 1 is that there is no wrong answer in this room, which means that whatever they say will be taken as the correct answer because it is their opinion and we respect their opinion. So they should be giving their opinion. Rule 2 is that there is no judgment in this room. because nobody in the world has the right to judge you or me. Similarly, we are not expected to judge others either. We should step forward and help others when we can. And rule 3 is that the room is full of respect. And the basic sign of respect is when one person speaks, the others listen. Because when you speak, you love to be heard, right? So you've got to listen to others. That's what I start every class with.
That's very nice. Very nice means a kid is feeling my place.
My safe place. Yeah,
There
absolutely.
is no judgment, no disrespect, and people are hearing what you are saying.
Yes.
That's more important because kids actually they want everybody should hear what they are saying.
Correct.
So that's nice. But tell me one thing. Like when the kid joins your program, so how much time they take to get open up with you?
You know, and it is so interesting. It's that first day actually. And that's why we give the first day as a trial sometimes to a lot of children who are not sure of whether I should come in or no. We say that take that first day as a trial. And then if you like it only, you continue and you pay the fees. And if you don't, that's it. And in a span of, to give you an idea of, we've crossed about 450 students.
Wow.
5 children haven't come back.
Ah, okay.
So 445 children have come back. So in day 1, people take that call that I want to continue.
That's lovely. That's lovely. But I have a question. Like, what you felt about those 5 kids who has not come back?
Yes. So we went through and worked with each child. So there was one child who, and that's why, we also went back to the children. So 2 of them one was in a mall, one was in a very public environment with a lot of noise, because we tell children this is online. So we want you sitting alone in your rooms without anybody. So no noise. So there was lot of noise around, lot of disturbance around. They couldn't.
They were not able to concentrate.
Correct. If you ask me genuinely, there was one boy who said, I find the other children too small, so I don't want to continue. So that was his opinion, and I had to respect that opinion. And there was one other child, and I will not even name who the child was, which actually hurt me a bit because I thought I'll work on it. She said that this batch was full of Indians, and I wish there were multicultural children. And I said to myself, this is one life skill I will work on. And I did. And it's called diversity. So you might be in a room full of people with different nationalities. Like today's class, which I just did, had like 5 nationalities. Okay. However, there have been classes which have only Indians. And so what? I should learn to walk into a room and not look at a person as Indian, African, East Indian, etc., etc. I should be able to walk in a room and say that you are an individual and I will respect you for who you are and I will not ask you about your background.
Maybe that is the lesson that kid is getting from some of her or his elders or maybe surroundings. But every podcast, I say this. And again, I'm forced to say again. Because if you'll see my all podcast before one, you will find this statement and every time I say that. Because every podcast, I get this topic to talk about the same thing. Because we are not listening, so I will keep on repeating. The religion is very difficult to handle. If you want to be responsible, please try to be human first. Yes. And every time I say that in a different way, but the way is changed. Maybe you or maybe also me, I will also learn this way. So guys, please be human first, and then you take the responsibility of religion, because it is very, very critical and very, very serious thing to handle. Thank you very much for this. Yes, Charlotte. So let me come back to the same topic again. So when they start talking to you, they open up very easily, or you have to, scratch everything from inside, or they come up, like which kind of hurtful statements you got from the kids, like which actually shook you up from, top to bottom, that you are feeling like this kind of words also we feel like parents can say to their kids. Can you please say that? Because I want to keep everything here in front of people so that they will know what kind of parents we are, and we are not thinking about the new small generation that coming up now and how they will treat their generation. So you have to come with the bitterest word I want you have heard in any kind of like with your 450 students till now?
Oh, you're talking about the bitterest words. What I wanted
Yeah.
to say was that for children, and this is something I tell parents every time we do a finale. Children keep parents on a pedestal. Okay,
Right.
they idolize their parents.
Right.
Think about you and me also. If you think about our parents, we look up to our parents. However, our parents, we would have probably not liked certain habits, but we definitely idolize our parents. Okay. Now the problem is, children don't even need the bitterest words. Even if you say that, what is this? You couldn't do this much? Your child is devastated. They fall from there to there. When we spoke about words of affirmation or any love language helps you build your confidence. Confidence builds one step at a time. It drops 10 steps at a time. It doesn't drop one step at a time. It drops 10 steps. So you're talking about the worst words. They don't even need the worst
the
words.
words, yeah.
Even if one day I tell you, you've not done this much, you haven't done that, you're good for nothing, what are you thinking of? Even such simple words, you might think they're very simple words to say that, "Oh, you haven't done so much." And at offices and workplaces, you must have heard, "Arey, you were given this task, you couldn't do this much." I mean, you don't think so much of it as an adult. For a child, a parent saying that drops that confidence. Words like useless, all these words, children don't even come and tell us the harshest. Children come and say things like, "I have been considered to be the boy of the house, the son of the house. I'm supposed to take care of my little brother. My little brother is 5 years or 4 years younger to me. But I am supposed to take care. They don't even consider my feelings." So words are not even required. The fact that a parent has overlooked a child's feelings is like devastating for the child. So, words are second, third, they to rip
No,
them
but I'm
apart.
actually relating to
Yeah.
all your conversation because I have heard recently with one of the parent. So it was actually when I heard this, I was totally like, what did you just said to your kid? It was just like that. So that I got into that phrase of what you were saying.
Correct.
But no, my question was, what kind of things kids are coming and telling you
Yeah.
while they're opening up with you, why they are
I'll
hurt?
tell you that.
Yeah.
So, kids are generally coming to us and saying that I want to spend time with my parents, but my parent doesn't have even 15 minutes to give me every day minus their devices. And I have gone back and asked parents this, saying that, do you consistently give your child 10 minutes or 15 minutes every single day minus your devices, which means like we're sitting now. We don't have our devices. Do you sit like this and you look into the eyes of your child and you speak? Do you do that every day?
Right.
And 90%.
You're asking me?
No,
Yes.
no, that's amazing. But 90% of parents say no.
No, but I'll tell you about me because this is really critical. I have recently left my job.
Okay.
And that is because of my kids only.
Fabulous.
I also get frustrated in the house when they are eating my brain every now and then because they are kids. I understand. I never shout. Lot of people, even you count my husband, once he told me, they are like this because you are not hitting them. Can you say that? How can I hit a small baby? Will that kid will be able to take the pressure of my slap or whatsoever I'll do? Will that be able, they will be able to take that pressure? So when I think the physical
is never a
slap
solution.
is more heavier, more lighter than what we talk. Because the words, what we say, it keeps rolling in our head all the day. So what I was thinking is like, how can we do that to our kids? And this is really very correct statement you just said that 10 minute bhi nahi hai yaar. I don't understand like why we are earning. What is the purpose of earning? What is the purpose of giving them the beautiful life where they don't have anybody with them? Means it's again the same thing. I am actually very emotional towards kids because my father used to teach me always the kids are same. Whether it's yours,
Correct.
it's hers or it's mine.
Correct.
Kids are same, mothers are same.